Welcome to Healthy Aging Blueprint, your trusted space for simple, effective tips to help seniors live healthier, happier, and more meaningful lives. Whether you're stepping into retirement or supporting a parent or grandparent on their wellness journey, this channel is for you. Together, we'll explore real-life experiences, healthy daily habits, and a positive mindset to help you wake up each day with energy, joy, and purpose. Have you ever wondered if your healthy breakfast is actually sabotaging your health? What if your favorite morning ritual, oatmeal, could be silently draining your energy instead of fueling it? And could something as simple as your choice of toppings be putting your heart and liver at risk after 60? Oatmeal has long been considered a smart, heart-friendly breakfast, especially among older adults. It's warm, comforting, and easy to prepare. But what many people don't realize is that the health benefits of oatmeal can quickly be reversed by the ingredients you add to it. The wrong mix-ins can quietly trigger blood sugar spikes, place strain on your liver, and leave you feeling tired rather than nourished. After 60, your body becomes more sensitive to certain food combinations, and oatmeal, when paired with the wrong ingredients, can go from helpful to harmful faster than you think. That's why it's so important to know what not to add. In this video, we'll uncover 7 common foods that should never be mixed into your oatmeal. You'll also learn simple alternatives that help keep your breakfast energizing, heart-supportive, and truly good for your long-term well-being. Before we dive in, if you find this video valuable, please consider giving it a like to support this channel. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell so you won't miss future insights on healthy aging. If you enjoy this video, type 1 in the comments, and if not, type 0 to help us improve future content just for you. Let's begin. Number 1. Brown sugar stresses your insulin response. Brown sugar might appear healthier than white sugar. Its golden color and earthy aroma often make it feel like a more natural, rustic choice. Many people over 60 reach for it as a better sweetener, thinking it's the safer option for their morning oats. But here's the truth. Your body doesn't process brown sugar any differently than white sugar. Whether it's light brown, dark, or even labeled as organic, it behaves the same once digested. That small scoop you sprinkle into your bowl can lead to a rapid insulin spike and trigger a chain reaction in your metabolism. The result? A short burst of energy followed by a crash, leaving you sluggish and drained. You may think you're simply sweetening your oatmeal, but when you add brown sugar, you're actually delivering a concentrated load of simple carbohydrates. These are rapidly broken down by your body and converted into glucose. That sudden surge of sugar in your bloodstream causes your pancreas to react quickly, releasing insulin in an attempt to move the glucose into your cells. While this process is usually efficient in younger bodies, it becomes increasingly difficult with age. As we grow older, our pancreas produces less insulin, and our cells become less responsive to it. This condition, known as insulin resistance, means that even a modest amount of brown sugar can push your system into a kind of metabolic overdrive. For someone in their 60s or beyond, this translates into a roller coaster effect. The initial sugar rush might give you a brief sense of energy, but it's quickly followed by a crash. You may start feeling drained, moody, or even hungrier than before. That crash often comes within an hour or two, setting the stage for a cycle of cravings and fatigue. But it doesn't stop there. Over time, these repeated spikes and dips in blood sugar take a more serious toll on your body. They contribute to chronic inflammation, a silent but powerful driver of many age-related diseases. This ongoing inflammation encourages the buildup of visceral fat, the type that surrounds your organs and significantly raises the risk of heart disease. Your blood vessels also begin to suffer under the strain, increasing the likelihood of hypertension and other cardiovascular issues. Most concerning of all, this constant insulin stress greatly heightens your chances of developing type 2 diabetes, even if the rest of your meals seem balanced and healthy. Isn't it surprising how such a small, routine addition to breakfast can trigger a chain reaction that quietly undermines your health? Studies consistently show that older adults are especially vulnerable to these patterns, making it all the more important to rethink what's going into that morning bowl. As we get older, our bodies become less able to handle rapid changes in blood sugar. That means every sugary addition to a meal, even one as seemingly innocent as brown sugar in oatmeal, can become a long-term liability. Take Janet, for example. At 67, she was a retired teacher who believed she had a solid, healthy routine. Her favorite breakfast was a bowl of oatmeal topped with a generous spoonful of brown sugar and a splash of skim milk. It felt comforting and nutritious. She exercised regularly, stayed active in her community, and generally took good care of herself. But there was one thing that didn't add up. She was always fighting mid-morning fatigue and brain fog. By 10:30 a.m., she found herself struggling to stay focused. Sometimes, she'd even feel like taking a nap. And by noon, her hunger returned in full force, no matter how filling breakfast seemed. Eventually, she decided to bring it up with her doctor. After discussing her morning routine, the likely culprit became clear: the brown sugar. It may have seemed harmless, but that small scoop was silently wreaking havoc on her energy levels. So, she made a simple change. She swapped out the brown sugar for a dash of cinnamon and a few thin slices of fresh apple. The difference? Remarkable. Within a week, Janet felt more alert, more balanced, and no longer dragged through her mornings. "I couldn't believe it was just that one little spoonful," she told me. "It looked so innocent, but it was throwing everything off." And there's more to it than just energy crashes. Brown sugar has a hidden way of setting you up for cravings throughout the rest of the day. When you eat sugar, your brain releases dopamine, the chemical that creates a quick sense of reward and pleasure. But once that feeling fades, your brain starts seeking another dopamine boost. That's when you find yourself reaching for something sweet again, often without realizing why. This isn't about lack of discipline. It's simply how the brain works, especially in older adults. With age-related shifts in brain chemistry, this cycle of craving and reward becomes even harder to manage. Left unchecked, it often leads to consistent overeating, unnecessary snacking, and gradual weight gain over time. But if you enjoy a bit of sweetness in your oatmeal, don't worry. You don't have to give it up completely. There are smarter ways to satisfy your taste buds without sabotaging your health. Try adding a few slices of ripe banana. Not only does it offer natural sweetness, but it also provides potassium and fiber, which helps slow sugar absorption. A pinch of cinnamon or a drop of pure vanilla extract can lift the flavor beautifully, without spiking your blood sugar. Feeling a little creative? A sprinkle of crushed walnuts or a teaspoon of chia seeds adds a satisfying crunch, along with healthy fats and fiber that help you stay full longer. These small tweaks may seem simple, but they can transform your mornings and your overall well-being in a powerful way. The key isn't to eliminate sweetness altogether. It's about making choices that support your body as it ages. Choosing ingredients that work with your system, not against it, can make all the difference. When you begin your day with balanced blood sugar, you're not just avoiding crashes. You're laying the foundation for a better mood, improved focus, and a metabolism that works more efficiently throughout the day. That one simple change, leaving out the brown sugar, can create a ripple effect that influences how you feel, think, and function. It's a small decision with big rewards, giving your body the support it needs to operate at its best from the moment you wake up. If you're still with me and finding these insights helpful, I'd love to hear from you. Drop a 1 in the comments to let me know you're here and following along. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now is a great time. Hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss a video. Your support means a lot. It helps us continue to create thoughtful, useful content to help you live healthier and age with confidence. Let's keep going. Number 2, artificial sweeteners. Artificial sweeteners are often marketed as guilt-free alternatives to sugar, especially for seniors trying to manage weight or maintain steady blood sugar. They come in those familiar, colorful packets. Think aspartame, sucralose, or saccharin, promising all the sweetness without any of the calories. For many, they seem like a perfect solution. But the reality is much more complicated, especially for older adults. These lab-created substitutes may be calorie-free, but that doesn't mean they're harmless. In fact, they can quietly interfere with your metabolism, gut health, and even liver function, sometimes in ways you might not expect. The problem begins with how your body responds to sweetness. When you consume something sweet, your brain and digestive system naturally prepare for incoming calories and energy. With real sugar, those calories show up, however imperfectly they're processed. But artificial sweeteners trigger the same internal response without delivering the expected calories. This disconnect can confuse your body's regulatory systems, leading to unintended consequences over time. This disconnect between sweetness and actual calories creates what researchers call a metabolic mismatch. Your body is expecting energy, but none arrives. This confusion can throw off your insulin response, which may lead to increased hunger, more intense cravings, and a stronger desire for sweets later in the day. Some studies even suggest that consuming artificial sweeteners regularly may contribute to insulin resistance, the very condition many older adults are actively trying to avoid. For people in their 60s and beyond, where hormonal balance is already shifting and the body's sensitivity to insulin may be reduced, this interference can make it harder to maintain steady blood sugar levels. It can also hinder weight loss efforts and promote the accumulation of visceral fat, the kind that wraps around your internal organs and raises serious health risks. And then there's the toll on your liver. Even though artificial sweeteners are calorie-free, they're not invisible to the body. Many of them, such as sucralose and aspartame, are processed by the liver, which has to filter and break them down just like it does with alcohol, medications, and other compounds from your diet. For an aging liver that may already be working overtime due to prescription medications or age-related decline in function, this added burden is far from harmless. Over time, this extra processing load can lead to what's known as liver overload. The signs may not be obvious at first. Perhaps you feel more fatigued, notice changes in digestion, or see your lab results come back with elevated liver enzymes. But left unaddressed, it could develop into early signs of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, a condition becoming increasingly common among seniors. Unlike natural sugar, which, despite its problems, does offer energy, artificial sweeteners contribute nothing of nutritional value. They simply create more work for your body, especially your liver, without any real reward. Take Charles, for example. He's a 74-year-old grandfather who had been using sugar-free syrup and artificial sweeteners in his oatmeal for years. He believed they were a smart, diabetic-friendly choice. The taste satisfied him, and he felt confident he was making a healthier decision. He believed he was doing the right thing for his health. But when a routine blood test showed slightly elevated liver enzymes, Charles's doctor began to question whether those artificial sweeteners were playing a role. Though hesitant at first, Charles decided to make a change. He replaced the sweeteners with plain oats, added a pinch of nutmeg, and tossed in a few crushed berries. Within just a few weeks, something remarkable happened. His digestion improved noticeably, his energy throughout the day felt more balanced, and when he returned for another blood test, his liver markers were beginning to trend back toward a healthier range. "I thought I was doing my body a favor," he later said. "But really, I was just giving my liver another job it didn't need." The effects of artificial sweeteners don't stop at the liver. These substances can also disrupt the gut microbiome, the complex and sensitive ecosystem of bacteria that supports digestion, immunity, and even mood. Research has shown that sweeteners like saccharin and sucralose can alter the balance of gut bacteria. For some people, this may result in bloating, changes in bowel habits, or even increased inflammation throughout the body. And for seniors, the gut is already a vulnerable system. Slower digestion, combined with the impact of common medications, means the digestive tract is more easily thrown off balance. Adding artificial sweeteners into the mix only adds more pressure to an already taxed system. So, what can you do instead? Rather than reaching for those brightly colored packets, consider natural flavor boosters that work with your body, not against it. A sprinkle of cinnamon or nutmeg can deliver the comforting warmth of sweetness without any artificial chemicals. A splash of almond extract or a handful of mashed raspberries can provide real flavor, along with the bonus of vitamins, fiber, and antioxidants, nutrients that actively support your health. If you're managing diabetes or pre-diabetes, don't hesitate to speak with your doctor or a registered dietitian. There are safe, satisfying ways to enjoy gentle sweetness without compromising your well-being. After all, your body has worked hard for decades. Doesn't it deserve choices that nourish it, not confuse it? Your body deserves fuel that supports it, not ingredients that trick it. By choosing real, whole foods, you're not just avoiding hidden dangers, you're actively giving your body the tools it needs to stay strong, energized, and well-functioning. Number 3. Dried fruits. Dried fruits have built a reputation for being a wholesome, guilt-free snack. Marketed as nature's candy, they seem like the perfect addition to a healthy breakfast. A sprinkle of raisins, dried cranberries, or chopped apricots over your morning oatmeal feels like a smart, natural choice. After all, they're made from real fruit. How bad could they be? But for older adults, those tiny pieces of dried fruit can deliver a shockingly high dose of sugar in a very concentrated form, often much more than you'd get from fresh fruit. When fruit is dried, the water content is removed, but the sugars remain. This turns even a small serving, say a quarter cup, into a sugar bomb. That modest handful of raisins or cranberries might contain as much sugar as a candy bar, sometimes 20 to 30 grams or more. And unlike fresh fruit, which comes with fiber and water to help slow sugar absorption, dried fruit delivers a fast and intense dose of fructose, a form of sugar that is metabolized primarily by your liver. For seniors, this matters more than you might think. As we age, the liver often works harder to manage medications, changes in metabolism, and reduced efficiency. When you add a surge of fructose to the mix, your liver becomes overwhelmed, increasing the risk of developing fatty liver disease, even in people who don't drink alcohol. And it doesn't stop there. Excessive fructose can also raise triglyceride levels in the blood, which is closely linked to heart disease. Over time, it encourages the accumulation of visceral fat, the dangerous kind that builds up around your internal organs and significantly increases your risk of diabetes and cardiovascular problems. What's worse, many dried fruits on store shelves aren't just dried. They're coated with extra sugars or syrups to improve taste and preserve softness. Take a close look at the label on a bag of dried cranberries. You might find sugar or corn syrup listed among the first ingredients. That turns an already concentrated source of fructose into a much bigger metabolic challenge. Even the unsweetened varieties like dates or raisins still carry a heavy sugar load in a surprisingly small amount. It's easy to assume you're making a healthy choice, but your liver may be working overtime to handle what is essentially a condensed dessert. Just ask Gerald, a 69-year-old retiree who learned this lesson firsthand. Every morning, he topped his oatmeal with a generous handful of dried fruit, believing he was doing something good for his health. Every morning, Gerald added a handful of dried apricots to his oatmeal, believing it was a smart way to boost his fiber intake and make his breakfast more heart-friendly. He felt sure he was doing something good for his body, but despite his active lifestyle, he couldn't figure out why he felt bloated after eating, or why his blood pressure numbers had slowly started to rise. Eventually, he made a simple switch. Instead of dried apricots, he began topping his oats with fresh blueberries and a light sprinkle of chia seeds. Within a short time, the difference was clear. His bloating subsided, his energy became more stable, and his doctor noticed a modest but encouraging improvement in his blood pressure. "I had no idea those little dried fruits were causing so much trouble," Gerald said. "I thought they were good for me." If you enjoy fruit in your oatmeal, fresh is almost always the better choice. A few slices of apple, A handful of fresh berries, or even half a banana, can provide the natural sweetness you're craving, along with water, fiber, and valuable micronutrients that actually support your body rather than burden it. Take blueberries, for example. They're packed with antioxidants that help combat inflammation. Bananas, on the other hand, are rich in potassium, which plays a key role in maintaining healthy blood pressure and supporting heart function. And unlike dried fruits, whole fruits release their sugars more slowly, allowing your body to process them gradually, without putting unnecessary strain on your liver or blood sugar system. But what if you still want to enjoy dried fruit from time to time? The key is moderation. If you must use dried fruit, choose the unsweetened kind and treat it more like a garnish than a main feature. Limit yourself to a teaspoon or two at most. That way, you get the taste without overwhelming your system with sugar. After all, your liver has been working hard for decades. Choosing fresh fruit over dried is one small but meaningful way to give it the break it deserves, while still enjoying delicious, satisfying flavors. If you're still watching and finding value in this video, go ahead and type 2 in the comments to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend doing that now and turning on the notification bell so you never miss a new video. Your support helps us keep sharing valuable content to keep you informed, inspired, and in control of your health. Now, let's move on. Number 4. Flavored oatmeal packets. For many seniors, especially those living alone or looking for a quick, no-fuss breakfast, flavored instant oatmeal packets seem like a convenient blessing. Tear one open, add hot water, and you've got a warm, familiar bowl of comfort in minutes. Flavors like maple brown sugar or apple cinnamon sound wholesome and cozy, and the packaging often comes stamped with promises like whole grain or heart healthy, reinforcing the idea that you're making a smart choice. At first glance, flavored oatmeal packets seem like a smart and nutritious choice, especially for busy mornings. But hidden beneath the convenience is a troubling mix of high-sodium, artificial flavorings, and chemical additives that can quietly work against your health, particularly as you get older. Let's begin with the sodium content. A single packet of flavored oatmeal can contain anywhere from 200 to 300 milligrams of sodium, and that number climbs even higher if you prepare it with salted butter or pour in regular milk. For older adults monitoring their blood pressure or managing heart and kidney conditions, that added sodium can become a real concern. And it doesn't stop with just one breakfast. When combined with sodium from other common sources, like bread, canned soups, deli meats, or salty snacks, the total daily intake adds up fast. Over time, even small doses from healthy foods can lead to fluid retention, elevated blood pressure, and increased stress on the kidneys. That's especially problematic for aging kidneys that naturally become less efficient as we get older. But sodium isn't the only hidden issue. Many of the comforting flavors in these packets, maple, apple cinnamon, mixed berry, don't actually come from real food. Instead, they're produced using synthetic flavorings, artificial sweeteners, stabilizers, and food colorings designed to mimic the taste of whole ingredients. While these chemicals make the product taste appealing, they offer zero nutritional benefit. Worse, they create extra work for your body. Your liver and kidneys have to break down and eliminate these additives, on top of the medications, inflammation, or reduced organ function that often come with age. The result? A subtle but steady burden that can lead to long-term wear and tear. Some people may experience fatigue, bloating, or digestive discomfort without knowing why. Others, like Carol, a 73-year-old widow, learn the hard way. She had been eating flavored oatmeal packets twice a day, one in the morning and another in the evening, because they were quick and easy. For her, it was a simple way to avoid cooking. But over time, her energy dipped, and routine blood work showed elevated liver enzymes. She genuinely believed she was making a healthy choice. But Carol soon began noticing persistent bloating and unusual swelling in her hands. Her blood pressure readings were also inching higher. numbers her doctor wasn't happy about. Confused and frustrated, she finally decided to make a change. She swapped out the flavored packets for plain rolled oats, added a sprinkle of cinnamon, and tossed in a few fresh apple slices. It didn't take long for her body to respond. The bloating eased. Her hands felt less puffy, and her blood pressure gradually moved back into a safer range. "I never thought those little packets could make such a big difference," she admitted. "They seemed so innocent." And that's exactly the problem. The health claims plastered across those boxes, words like whole grain or low fat, can easily distract from what's really inside. The reality? Many of these flavored oatmeal packets contain 9 or 10 ingredients, many of which you can't even pronounce. Preservatives, thickeners, flavor enhancers. They offer no nutritional value and add unnecessary stress to your body. If you're aiming to enjoy the true health benefits of oatmeal, simplicity is key. Stick with plain rolled oats or steel-cut oats. These are naturally rich in fiber, B vitamins, and important minerals like magnesium that support your energy, digestion, and heart health. And when it comes to flavor, you're better off being the one in control. Add your own toppings, fresh fruit for natural sweetness, a drizzle of honey used sparingly, or warming spices like nutmeg, cinnamon, or cardamom to bring your bowl to life. It might take just a few extra minutes to prepare, but the payoff is worth it. What you get in return is a breakfast that actually nourishes your body without the hidden costs. Your heart, kidneys, and liver will thank you, and you'll likely feel the difference in your energy, clarity, and overall vitality throughout the day. Number 5. Non-dairy creamers. These creamers are often marketed as a convenient, lactose-free way to add richness and a smooth texture to your morning oatmeal. For those who are lactose intolerant, vegan, or simply cutting back on dairy, they seem like a harmless solution. The promise? A boost in flavor and creaminess without any of the drawbacks of milk. They promise to give your breakfast that smooth, creamy mouthfeel, without the heaviness of real milk or cream. At first, non-dairy creamers may seem like a harmless, even smart swap. But the truth behind these products is far less comforting, especially for older adults aiming to protect their long-term health. Whether in powdered or liquid form, most non-dairy creamers are loaded with synthetic ingredients. These additives might taste pleasant, but they can quietly compromise your heart, liver, and metabolic balance over time. As we age, the body becomes more sensitive to the cumulative effects of artificial ingredients, meaning what you use daily can slowly start to add up in unexpected ways. The biggest red flag? Hydrogenated and partially hydrogenated oils. These are commonly used in non-dairy creamers and are major sources of trans fats, some of the most harmful fats you can consume. These artificially modified fats are known to wreak havoc on cholesterol levels. They raise LDL, or bad cholesterol, the kind that clogs arteries, and at the same time lower HDL, the good cholesterol that helps clear your arteries and protect your heart. This 1-2 punch creates a dangerous imbalance, especially for older adults who may already be dealing with high blood pressure, high cholesterol, or atherosclerosis. Over time, this added strain increases the risk of serious cardiovascular events like heart attacks or strokes. What makes matters worse is that many non-dairy creamers are marketed as trans fat-free, giving a false sense of security. But here's the catch. Food labeling laws in many countries, including the US, allow products to be labeled as having 0 trans fats if a single serving contains less than 0.5 grams. That may not sound like much, but if you're using creamer multiple times a day, in your coffee, your oatmeal, even your cooking, those small amounts can add up quickly. Over weeks and months, they can accumulate in the body and silently increase your risk for long-term health issues. So while that flavored creamer might seem like a comforting addition to your morning routine, it could be quietly working against your health goals, especially when heart health is already a top priority. Many non-dairy creamers also come loaded with a complex blend of additives, ingredients you might not recognize at first glance. Common examples include thickeners like carrageenan or cellulose gum, emulsifiers such as mono and diglycerides, and artificial flavors that give these creamers their familiar creamy taste. These compounds are engineered to mimic the rich, smooth feel of real cream. But don't be fooled. They offer no actual nutritional benefit. Instead of nourishing your body, they place extra strain on your liver and kidneys, two organs that are already working hard to filter out medications, toxins, and the byproducts of natural aging. When you consume these synthetic substances daily, the body must constantly work to metabolize and eliminate them. Over time, this added workload can contribute to a silent but dangerous condition: chronic inflammation. And chronic inflammation isn't something to take lightly. It's been linked to a range of serious health issues, including heart disease, arthritis, and even cognitive decline. For older adults, whose organ function may already be slowing due to age, the cumulative impact of these additives can accelerate underlying problems and weaken the body's natural defenses. Take Frank, for example, a 75-year-old retiree who loved the simplicity and versatility of non-dairy creamer. Each morning, he added a generous scoop to his coffee and sprinkled it into his oatmeal. Sometimes he even stirred it into soups or stews to add creaminess. To him, it was a harmless pantry staple. But over time, Frank began experiencing persistent digestive issues, bloating, discomfort, and sluggish digestion that just wouldn't go away. During a routine checkup, his doctor also noticed his cholesterol levels had started creeping up. Looking more closely at his daily habits, the doctor identified the non-dairy creamer as a likely contributor. So, Frank made a change. He removed the creamer from his routine and replaced it with a splash of unsweetened almond milk or a spoonful of plain yogurt, depending on the dish. Within just 2 months, he noticed a real difference. His digestion became more regular, the discomfort faded, and his cholesterol numbers improved significantly. "I thought it was just a harmless powder," Frank said. "I had no idea it was affecting me like that." He never imagined something so small could cause so much trouble. But that's the reality with non-dairy creamers. Their clever marketing often paints them as light, cholesterol-free, or simply convenient. In truth, their effects are more subtle and insidious. The damage builds gradually, often going unnoticed until symptoms like low energy, digestive discomfort, or concerning lab results force you to take a closer look. So, how can you still enjoy that creamy, satisfying texture in your oatmeal without putting your health at risk? There are plenty of nourishing, natural alternatives that provide both taste and benefit. Unsweetened almond milk, oat milk, or coconut milk can give you the smooth mouthfeel you're looking for, while also supplying nutrients like fiber, healthy fats, or calcium, without the artificial additives that burden your body. And if you tolerate dairy, you might consider a spoonful of organic heavy cream or a dollop of plain Greek yogurt. These options bring richness and depth to your bowl, along with real benefits like protein and probiotics that support digestion and immunity. You're not just adding flavor, you're adding value. As we grow older, every choice we make carries more weight. What you stir into your oatmeal might seem trivial, but over time, it can influence your energy, your digestion, your blood pressure, even your longevity. Choosing simple whole food options means you're making decisions that respect and support the body that's carried you through the decades. By opting for cleaner, nutrient-dense ingredients, you're not just improving today's breakfast, you're setting a foundation for continued vitality in the years ahead. Isn't that what your body truly deserves? If you're finding this information eye-opening, drop a 4 in the comments to let me know you're engaged. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing and turning on the notification bell so you never miss practical, easy-to-follow tips for healthier living. Your support makes it possible for us to keep creating content that both informs and inspires. If you're still here with me, finding value in these insights, comment 3 below so I know you're watching. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's a perfect time. I recommend subscribing and turning on the notification bell so you won't miss any upcoming videos. Your support allows us to keep creating meaningful content that informs and inspires healthier living. Now, let's continue with number 6, store-bought granola. Granola has long been seen as a symbol of natural, wholesome eating. With its crunchy texture, nutty flavor, and rustic image, it's often marketed as the perfect topping for oatmeal, yogurt, or smoothie bowls. You might picture it as the food of hikers, nature lovers, and health-conscious individuals. But when it comes to most store-bought granola, the truth is far less charming. Many commercial granola products are packed with hidden ingredients that can turn your nutritious breakfast into something much more harmful than you'd expect. Added sugars, refined oils, and preservatives are common, and they all come together to create a calorie-dense, inflammation-promoting mix that can undermine your wellness goals, especially as you age. The real issue lies in how these granolas are made. To achieve that signature crunch and keep the product shelf-stable for months, manufacturers often coat the oats in sugar syrups, like corn syrup, cane sugar, or even molasses, then bake them in oils such as canola, soybean, or palm oil. These oils, while common, are usually highly refined. In some cases, they may even be partially hydrogenated, introducing trace amounts of trans fats into the mix. And that's where it gets serious. Trans fats and refined sugars are known contributors to chronic inflammation, a silent but powerful force that plays a role in many age-related conditions. From joint stiffness and digestive discomfort to fatigue and increased risk of heart disease, inflammation can wear down the body in subtle but significant ways. For seniors already managing inflammation-related issues, consuming store-bought granola regularly can add unnecessary fuel to the fire. Even products marketed as natural or low sugar are not always safe. They may still include sweeteners like honey, agave nectar, or brown rice syrup, ingredients that sound better but still impact blood sugar and liver function in much the same way. Sweeteners like honey, brown rice syrup, or evaporated cane juice might sound healthier on the label, but don't be fooled. Inside your body, they behave much like refined sugar, causing rapid blood sugar spikes, a surge in insulin, and the inevitable energy crash that follows. For older adults managing prediabetes, insulin resistance, or trying to maintain a healthy weight, these recurring sugar jolts can throw the body further off balance. Over time, the consequences add up. Increased belly fat, intensified cravings, and that frustrating cycle of fatigue that seems to creep in by mid-morning or early afternoon. What feels like a simple sprinkle of granola for texture can quietly sabotage your metabolic health. And here's another detail many overlook: portion size. Most granola packages list a serving size of just 2 to 3 tablespoons. But be honest, when was the last time you measured that carefully? Most people instinctively pour a quarter cup, a third cup, or even more without thinking twice. That seemingly innocent handful can easily rack up hundreds of calories, a load of excess carbs, and a dose of unhealthy fats, turning what you thought was a smart breakfast into something more comparable to dessert. Take Ellen, for instance, a 71-year-old woman who loved topping her oatmeal with a big handful of granola every morning. It added that perfect crunch she craved. But when she finally read the label and saw just how much sugar and fat she was consuming, she was stunned. In fact, her regular serving of granola had more sugar than a chocolate chip cookie. Ellen decided to make a change. She switched to chopped walnuts for texture and crunch. Within just a few weeks, she noticed something remarkable. Her blood sugar became more stable, and those frustrating afternoon slumps started to fade. If you're someone who loves a bit of crunch in your oatmeal, there are much better options. Try plain toasted pumpkin or sunflower seeds, unsweetened coconut flakes, or raw nuts like almonds, pecans, or walnuts. These whole foods offer not just texture, but real nutritional value, fiber, healthy fats, and minerals your body needs. Unlike processed granola, which often comes with a side of sugar and oils your body doesn't need, these ingredients nourish your system and support your health goals. Why settle for an artificial crunch when you can have one that energizes and sustains you? Oatmeal should be a nourishing, grounding start to your morning, not a hidden trap filled with ingredients that silently work against your metabolism. By taking just a few extra moments to read ingredient labels and choose simple, minimally processed toppings, you're doing more than improving breakfast. You're empowering yourself. Every choice becomes a small act of care for your body, helping you support energy, focus, and long-term vitality with every single bite. Number 7. Protein powders, a surprisingly risky addition to your oatmeal. In recent years, protein powders have surged in popularity, especially among older adults aiming to preserve muscle mass, support metabolism, and stay fuller for longer. At first glance, adding a scoop of protein powder to your oatmeal sounds like a smart, efficient way to upgrade your breakfast. It promises more nutrition, better energy, and healthy aging benefits, all in one simple scoop. But the reality is a bit more complicated. While protein is indeed essential, especially as we age, many commercially available protein powders come with hidden downsides that aren't talked about nearly enough. These powders, whether whey-based, soy-based, or plant-based, are often heavily processed and loaded with synthetic ingredients that can place a quiet but significant burden on your system. Take a closer look at the ingredient list, and you'll often find artificial sweeteners like sucralose or aspartame, chemical thickeners like xanthan gum, preservatives, and synthetic flavorings. These substances are added to improve taste, mixability, and shelf life, but they offer zero nutritional value, and they don't simply pass through your system without consequence. Instead, your liver and kidneys have to work harder to metabolize and eliminate these additives. For older adults, especially those over 60, this can pose a serious concern. As we age, the efficiency of these vital organs naturally begins to decline. Adding daily stress in the form of processed ingredients may slowly contribute to reduced kidney function, increased inflammation, and overall systemic fatigue. These effects often go unnoticed at first. You may feel slightly more tired, experience subtle digestive discomfort, or notice changes in your lab results during routine checkups. But over time, the accumulation can become more pronounced, quietly undermining your health goals rather than supporting them. The protein delivered by these powders may seem beneficial, but as we age, our bodies process protein differently. With time, the efficiency of protein metabolism naturally declines. Any protein that isn't used immediately for muscle repair or energy doesn't simply disappear. It must be broken down, metabolized, and filtered through the kidneys. And that's where the concern lies, especially for older adults. Even in people without diagnosed kidney disease, subtle declines in kidney function are common with age. The problem is, these early changes often go unnoticed. Symptoms like fatigue, fluid retention, or loss of appetite usually don't appear until the kidneys are already under stress. For someone using protein powder daily, particularly in combination with other protein-rich foods, this extra load can gradually place a strain on the kidneys that build silently over time. Consider Dennis, a 78-year-old retiree who began adding a scoop of protein powder to his oatmeal every morning. He had read that it could help him maintain muscle mass, and since he was already taking steps to stay active and eat well, it seemed like a logical choice. What he didn't know was that he was also on medication for high blood pressure, and his body was already working hard to manage that load. Unaware of the risks, Dennis continued his routine for months until routine blood tests started showing abnormal kidney markers. His doctor took a closer look at his diet and identified the protein powder as a likely contributor. Between the excess protein and the artificial additives, Dennis's kidneys were being pushed harder than they could comfortably manage. When he stopped using the powder and switched to whole food sources of protein, like a side of eggs or a handful of nuts, things began to change. His kidney markers improved, his digestion felt better, and he even noticed more steady energy throughout the day. "I thought I was doing the right thing," Dennis said, "but I didn't realize I was overcomplicating it." If you're hoping to increase protein in your breakfast, the best approach is often the simplest. Whole foods provide not just protein, but additional nutrients your body needs to process it efficiently. A spoonful of plain Greek yogurt can add creaminess and protein, along with gut-friendly probiotics. A side of scrambled eggs, or a sprinkle of almonds or walnuts, offers protein that's balanced with healthy fats and fiber, nutrients that work in harmony with your body, not against it. Why rely on powders when nature already provides everything you need, informs your body recognizes and welcomes? These whole food options provide not only the protein your body needs, but also essential micronutrients that support healthy aging, from antioxidants and fiber to heart-friendly fats and immune-boosting minerals. And the best part? They come without the synthetic baggage that often accompanies processed protein powders. At this stage of life, the goal isn't just about packing in more nutrients. It's about choosing the kinds that work with your body's natural rhythms and support its capacity to repair, restore, and thrive. When you prioritize clean, whole foods, you're doing more than eating healthy. You're showing your body gratitude for everything it's carried you through. Every mindful choice, every thoughtful ingredient becomes a small step toward greater energy, clarity, and long-term wellness. And it starts right there in your breakfast bowl. Thank you so much for joining us today on this eye-opening journey to transform your morning oatmeal into a truly nourishing start to the day. Together, we've uncovered 7 sneaky ingredients that might be sabotaging your health, especially as you age. Now, we'd love to hear from you. What's one small change you're ready to make starting tomorrow morning? Will you swap that brown sugar for fresh apple slices? Replace flavored packets with hearty, plain rolled oats? Drop a comment below and share your takeaway. It inspires not only us, but also others in our growing community. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Your support helps us continue bringing you the tools, knowledge, and motivation to live a healthier, wiser life every single day. Wishing you good health, happiness, and peace always. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel, Healthy Aging Blueprint.